Welcome to Conversations with Anne Elizabeth, the podcast inspired by my book, I'm a Registered Dietitian, Now What?, where I have the absolute joy to sit back, relax, and have a conversation about nutrition with a variety of people who share their personal story of passion and purpose, especially registered dietitians. Today's conversation is with Krista Utalowski, a second career registered dietitian who decided to follow her passion right out of her internship and start her own nutrition communications business. Today's episode is sponsored by Nick Sticks, turkey and beef snack sticks. They are my favorite because they have all the goodness and none of the garbage. Nick makes snack sticks that start with 100% grass-fed beef and free-range turkey raised right here in the good old state of Iowa. No MSGs, no nitrates, and no sugar, just a lot of protein that makes the perfect snack. I have a special link on my website under the Things I Love tab where you can receive 20% off your order. Over the past few years, Krista and I have crossed paths in a variety of ways which were kind of unconventional as registered dietitians. I was always curious about what she actually did as an RD. Dietetics is a second career for Krista, and she has beautifully combined her first career in public relations and advertising by creating her own nutrition communications business. She not only serves companies and brands, but specializes in working with fellow registered dietitians looking to strategize their own personal and business goals. Please enjoy my conversation with Krista. Have you lived in Seattle your whole life, or have you moved around?
I've moved around a little bit. I was in the Twin Cities for about 8 years before this. And then Seattle has been about 10 years for me now. Originally, I grew up in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you're used to snow.
I know. I'm a Midwest gal. Exactly. I can't complain.
Well, let's kind of talking about where you lived can kind of give us a start to where your journey has taken you as a registered dietitian, and just maybe take me back to when you were starting to kind of think about dietetics and maybe thinking about dietitian as a career for you.
Yeah. My career path is quite varied. It was a long journey to get to where I am now, definitely. I started out as a journalism and business major, and that landed me at an ad agency after undergrad, which is fun and exciting. And then I bounced around to a number of different PR firms. I was doing mostly tech work and financial work for some larger companies at these various PR firms. One was in Minneapolis and then one was in Seattle here. And I just found myself wanting something more, wanting something different. I knew it wasn't a good fit. And when I was looking for those roles at the PR firms, I remember flipping through the phone book, and I'm totally dating myself here, and looking for companies and just cold calling them. And then when they would say, who their accounts are and everything, I would say, I want to do everything but tech. I'll work on any account but tech. And of course I got, that was my niche for a number of years. I was working on tech stuff. But so like I said, it was just, never felt whole, never felt completely like, this is what I want to be doing. But I loved the marketing. I loved doing PR work, loved doing communications. And so that eventually brought me back to get my master's in public health nutrition at the University of Washington. So there's a little bit of a story there. I don't know if you want to hear that.
Because when you think about, so you like tech, and I get the marketing part. So you didn't like the tech part, but how did the nutrition come into play?
Yeah. So that was a leap, really. I knew I wanted to go back to school and do something. I just wasn't sure if getting my MBA was the right thing to study. And I had always loved, nutrition. It was always pretty active in high school and growing up. I've got 3 younger brothers. So my mom would be buying these foods, these higher fat foods and things. And stocking them in the fridge. And I found myself starting to complain and read those labels. I was like, why do we have to buy this? Oh, well, your brothers need the calories. Well, what about me? So
Sure.
Just started to get interested in it, at a younger age, but never really pursued it. I was told in school, I got a lot of positive feedback on the writing and, the journalism piece of things and the communication, never the science aspect. So I never really pursued that. But when for me, it was one of those light bulb moments. Again, I knew I wanted to go back to school and study something. I just wasn't sure what. I knew I needed to make some sort of change. And so I was actually on a food tour of all things here in Seattle with my mom when she was visiting from Wisconsin. And we went to a number of different places and, had these small bites of just sushi and duck and just these exotic things. It was wonderful. And then at the end of the tour, we were sitting down at a brew pub. It was the last stop. It's actually Pike's Place Brewery. And, just kind of enjoying a beverage. And then we went on a little tour of the facility as well. And the tour was led by a dietitian, lo and behold. And it shocked me. I thought, oh my goodness, all these things that dietitians can do. It really just kind of opened up my eyes. And I'd never thought about dietetics or anything in the health field as a career. So later when my mom and I were talking further, my mom's like, well, why don't you just see what's involved, right? See what kind of schooling it would take to go back, and pursue that as a degree. And of course, right away, I just went, oh, that chemistry, what am I going to do? Am I going to survive? Again, not being that science-minded person. Or I didn't think I was. So I think I actually enrolled in my first chem class that very next day. So.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so for a number of years, I was working full time and going to school to finish those prereqs in the evening. So again, long journey, but made it. Mm-hmm.
And obviously you really wanted it. Cause that's a lot to work full time and then take classes at night and, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. It was worth it. So worth it.
Yeah. Did you ever feel that you made the wrong decision by going back, or was it always like, yes, this is it?
No. And that's wild that you ask that too, because I just think of, putting myself back in like those lecture halls and labs and all the things, that all of us as dietitians go through. But no, I never once in the moment was I thinking or second guessing that decision ever. Yeah. Mm-mm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How long did you time coming? Mm-hmm.
How long did you work just strictly in the PR arena?
The public relations was about, I would say 10 plus years. And it so it was a span of across two different firms. So again, one was in the Twin Cities and one was out here in the Seattle area.
So you did, so basically dietetics is a second career for you.
It is. Yeah, definitely. Definitely a second career dietitian. But what I like being able to do, after I graduated, I was still even a little bit unsure about how I was going to make this work. I knew I wasn't going to do clinical, but it took me some time to kind of figure out, oh, hey, I can marry my first career with my second. And that's what I set out to do just a few months after I graduated and started up my own business.
So you had that in the plan from the get-go. You're like, I'm not going to be like one of those standard dietitians. I'm going to open my own business right from the gates opening.
Yeah. Well, and I dabbled around for a little bit first. I didn't know that my own business was going to happen as soon as it did. I actually, like you, Anne, I had considered being a supermarket dietitian, a retail dietitian. I just love grocery stores and food and grocery shopping. But then I thought maybe I want to be behind the scenes a little bit more and do more of the marketing for that store. And so little by little, it was just kind of putting the pieces into place. And then I had a wonderful business coach who kind of helped me, have another light bulb moment. Why aren't you the PR dietitian? Why aren't you doing, the social media and the communications? You can do that as a dietitian. So that's kind of how that all fell into place. But yeah, I dabbled for a while doing lunch and learns and doing meal plans and doing a little bit of one-on-one consultations, nutrition consults. before fully landing on, okay, hey, I just need to do my own thing and set up that LLC and get rolling.
So did you kind of feel like when you were doing like the one-on-one and the lunch and learns, that kind of wasn't the right kind of fit for you? Like you kept going back to that marketing aspect, like, because you really loved that too.
Yeah, exactly. I found myself at conferences really drawn to things like the expo, right? Instead of the sessions, some of the more clinical focus sessions or whatever. I wanted to go and just talk with all of the business people and see what they were doing and ask them, how are you marketing your product? And I thought, well, this isn't what I do. I do, lunch and learns. And so what's going on? And it just felt, natural. So yeah, again, with the help of a business coach, she's like, well, why are you fighting that? So it was just kind of meant to be. So again, bringing that first career together with the second worked out pretty darn well.
Well, and I think that's I think by you saying like, don't fight it, I think as in dietetics, like we always think like you kind of felt like I need to be educating and I need to be, working in a clinical setting, or I need to be doing that. And maybe that's right. Not what you need to be doing. So exactly. I think it's interesting that your business coach told you to stop fighting it.
All right.
Stop fighting
it. Exactly. Yeah, I know. And so many of us in school, and it was probably the same way for you, and I still hear it from dietitians to be, they hear this in school from professors saying, at least get 1 year of clinical under your belt, right, after you graduate. But it's, unless you're really drawn to it, why, just,
sure.
Yeah, do where your heart's what your heart's telling you.
I agree. And I don't think clinical, I get clinical gives you so many different areas to learn and grow, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help you with your future goals.
Exactly. Doesn't necessarily translate. Depends. I mean, there's so many different things that dietitians are doing nowadays. It's really incredible.
Sure. I agree. And that's why kind of like why your story is interesting, because I think also a lot of people would say, oh, you shouldn't start your own business right away getting done with your degree.
Right.
So now from your perspective, looking back, was that a good choice? Was it not a good choice? How do you feel about that?
About setting up my own business?
Yes.
Yeah. No regrets there either. No. So yeah, it's been a really good fit for me. I think I'm a little bit surprised at how quickly I did it after graduating, but looking at some of the other full-time things that were available, that was the other thing too. Like I felt like I had to have a solid full-time job. That's where I came from. I was doing that at the marketing agencies. So I felt like I had to go in-house again somewhere and do that full-time. But just kind of having that flexible schedule and the non-traditional schedule or, role as a dietitian it's so freeing. And I really enjoy what I do. So I get to, essentially what I say is I help and hype healthy food brands. So I work with a number of just different food companies, beverage, healthcare, some healthcare tech, and then other dietitians who want to market their practices and market their products, increase their sales, get more visibility. So it's, every day is different, and really love the variety and the clients who I get to work with as well.
So how does a marketing kind of PR dietitian market herself to businesses and other dietitians to work with you? Because that I feel like one of those things that a lot of dietitians might struggle with. They don't really know how to break into that area. Sure,
exactly. Yeah. And sometimes not very well in terms of what I'm doing. It's tough because I've got, my clients come first, right? And I feel like I'm always trying to look for other opportunities for them and ways to market them and, promote them and the things that they're doing. And so sometimes I just need to take a step back and go, okay, that's great, but you do have to market yourself as well in the process. Absolutely. So, and I can't say that I have a regular schedule or anything in terms of what I do for myself, but I do try to prioritize my visibility, whether that's blogging, getting myself out on social media, that I tend to prioritize. Also, getting out there, networking, getting out at just various conferences, talking to brands that I'm interested in, following up with them, asking if they're free for coffee or if they have 15 minutes for a call. But sometimes it's even just cold calling brands that I really admire or really try to get their attention on social as well. So it takes time and persistence. But yeah, there are definitely things that are important for all of us to do to market our own practices and our own businesses.
And I think that's interesting that you just have to connect with people. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a lot of controversy, and maybe you can, talk to this a little bit too, but like dietitians working with brands, and if that's a good thing, if it's a bad thing, but I think, do you kind of feel like, when it comes to being a personal thing with you, that's something that you can stand behind, that it's a little bit easier to explain to people why you like this product or why you want to work with this product?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. And I tend to tell people that I will only work with companies that I believe in. There are plenty of food companies out there that I just wouldn't feel good about working with. And I'm sure, we can all think of various companies that, might pop to mind.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but everybody's different. And those companies too do need support from dietitians. I'm not, putting down the role of dietitians in those companies either. It is important to help them improve their, nutritional profile as well. I agree. But, for me, in promoting my clients, I tend to be doing it behind the scenes. I'm not the spokesperson necessarily, and I'm not the person who's saying, oh, hey, today we're doing a giveaway with so-and-so. I might find a different influencer to do that. So it's a little bit different for me versus, if you go on Instagram and have a dietitian saying, hey, I'm doing a giveaway with Kodiak or something today. So, and both are good. As long as we're disclosing who we're working with, both are wonderful. I think it's wonderful that brands who are taking notice, and working more and more with dietitians too. I think that's fantastic.
Well, and I think as you being a dietitian yourself, like you said, you're probably helping to promote other dietitians or asking companies to work with dietitians specifically versus a different kind of influencer, I would guess, maybe. Yeah.
You're spot on. Absolutely spot on. Yeah. Most of the ambassador programs or affiliate programs that I have in place are working with the dietitian influencers. There are some where it's okay, maybe it's general health and wellness professionals, but for me and for most of my clients too, they see the importance of reaching out to dietitians directly. Absolutely.
Do you help suggest certain dietitians? I mean, do you have a pool of dietitians that you kind of seek out personally and say, hey, I like these dietitians. I know that they would be a great fit for you. So you kind of keep dietitians on your radar as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely, I try to connect with not only the brands, but with dietitians and just, keep up with who's doing what and who has what going on and who's working on what area and who's savvy in this area. And absolutely. So yeah, I just,
you spend a lot of time on the computer then and on social media.
Yes.
How much of your day do you think you spend on, kind of watching social media and and that type of stuff?
Too much. Yeah, I do. And I don't know if I could quantify it necessarily because there are certain clients of mine, some food companies and some dietitians who solely have me doing their social media for them. So I might be planning stuff on Buffer for them, or I might be posting for them, or I might be looking for photos for them, or I might be engaging on social with, for them, or, suggesting they follow so-and-so or have a conversation with so-and-so. So I spend a lot of time on social. I think, for the most part, there's that, but then I also do a lot of writing as well for my clients. So, sometimes I get to go just a little bit deeper on some projects or writing strategic plans and so forth. But yeah,
wow.
Definitely.
You do a ton of stuff then. Like,
yeah.
I would never guess that you're like doing strategic planning and you're creating
Sure.
different things like that for companies or for dietitians for that matter.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some people hire me, it might be project based. Some are a little bit, retainer based, long term, shorter term. So yeah, it just depends on what people are looking for. Some are just, again, maybe looking for, hey, manage my social media. I don't want to do this. I don't understand it. And others are saying, hey, help me build this influencer program. Others are saying, we need a marketing plan. We've got a product launch and I don't know what I'm doing here. So let's get some ideas. Let's start brainstorming. So yeah, and it goes back to my agency days. A lot of stuff that I did there. So a lot of various services that I can offer.
Do you do a lot of traveling then, or do you do a lot of your working with people and companies virtually, or are you kind of like doing in-person meetings? Maybe kind of share that.
Yeah, sure. My travel is reasonable. It's fairly limited. I would say, for the most part, it's conferences. A lot of the stuff is just virtual, now with Skype and everything else that we can do. Still on Skype quite a bit, or conference calls, or, just meetings and things during the day. But most of them are just, from my little home office and with my laptop, which is nice.
That is very nice.
Yeah. There was another piece to your question. I'm sorry, Anne, that maybe I haven't addressed.
Oh, no, I was just kind of asking, I'm kind of just asking like day in the life of Krista, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you keep office hours then too? I'm guessing you work from home most of the time, almost all the time.
I do most of the time. Yep. But I also have that flexibility where, I'm going to start talking to myself if I just stay here. So I'm one of those where I just need to be around people and noise. So I tend to take either half day and go to a coffee shop, and I just kind of mix it up. So it's either I'll spend the morning at the coffee shop or the afternoon at the coffee shop, just kind of get a few hours, outside of the home office, which is nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like you're in an office with other people, but you don't have to talk to
anybody. Exactly. And those, there are the co-working spaces now, which are so wonderful as well. And I'm sure many dietitians have been making use of those too. I think there's one called WeWork. There's one here in Seattle called the Riveter, which they're just wonderful spaces where you can go and collaborate with others if you want, or have a meeting there on site. So they're a great little escape and a nice change of scenery.
Yeah, I realized we have one in Des Moines called Gravitate.
Nice.
And so, I was like, I didn't know we had that. That's pretty awesome.
Exactly. Just kind of making use of that space. And sometimes they have events that go on there. Sometimes they have like a noon yoga break. So you can't go wrong.
Wow. Get a little something of everything, right?
Exactly.
So when you work with dietitians, like from a PR perspective, I know that you've kind of mentioned some dietitians that you work with. If I was a dietitian and I was like, I want to work with Krista, like what are some things that you can offer for dietitians to help them with their practice, with their business?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. What I tend to do is have just an initial free consult. with whoever is interested and wants to learn a little bit more. It usually takes about half an hour. And I just get a sense for what their challenges are and where they want to be, how they want to grow. And so I hear a lot of different things in that call, whether it's, I don't know where to be on social, or I don't know what to do with my website, or I need more clients in the door, or how do I do referrals with, doctors and PTs, and I need help with that, or I want to be on ABC News, 5 o'clock. How do it help me? So a lot of different things there. And I just, I do a lot of listening, and brainstorming together during that half hour. And then I just put together a light proposal afterwards, just kind of following up and saying, hey, here's what we talked about. What things should we focus on pursuing here? But the things that I offer, just in the way of my services with Cucumbers is, again, the planning. If someone needs a bigger plan, a lot of dietitians don't necessarily need that off the bat. But things like branding, just kind of defining who you are. And then whether it's communication support or social media support, or media relations support. I would say those are some of the biggies. But then I have dietitians who come to me and say, hey, I want an affiliate program, or I want to launch my ebook in May. What do I do? How do I get it out there? Who should my target audience be? So lots of different questions and scenarios and, business problems that fall in my lap. So it keeps it interesting and really challenging.
So you even work, so I guess I was just thinking you worked with entrepreneurs mostly, but also you do help with people that are doing clinical practice or doing outpatient practices. So if they need help with kind of getting clients with doctors and things like that, you can help with that too.
Oh, that's interesting. I can't say that I've worked directly with anyone who has that relationship or who is employed in that sense. Okay. When I mentioned the referrals, it was more for a private practice dietitian to get referrals from doctors in his or her location.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Or referrals from, like I say, physical therapists or a masseuse or acupuncturists, or psychologists. So other health. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And that would tie in with a person's branding of their business and
exactly
how to get out into the public and that type of stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Creating those networks and opportunities to bring more clients for them in the door. Yeah.
Sure. And do you I guess you're only one woman. Do you have a staff, or is it you that you're president, CEO, CFO, all of the above, right?
Yeah. I like all those titles. It is just me. And I think, and it's manageable right now, but that's not to say that I could use the help of an intern or somebody, in the next few months. Because things have definitely been, kind of at the saturation point for me.
Okay, yeah.
But it's good. It's a good problem to have. There's been a lot of growth for me in my business, definitely over the past few months, which has been really wonderful. And so, yeah, it is just me. But I like being able to tell some of the smaller businesses with whom I engage that it's me. I'm a one-woman shop, and that means that it's very high touch as well. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of my attention. I'm very responsive, sometimes over-communicating rather than under-communicating. So I like being able to tell clients that, kind of reassure them instead of, oh, hey, okay, we'll have this initial conversation and then I'll hand it off to somebody else, which I know a lot of times happens at PR firms, but I just like being very involved, but at the same time too, eventually growing or expanding or having a little bit of help here one day is the plan. So little by little. I've only been doing this for, I shouldn't say only. I've been doing this for nearly 5 years now. So
okay, so you've been doing it for quite a while. Well, I was just wondering, I'm like, I don't know how you can keep up with all of this. Like, I would think that it would be hard to take on too many clients because you couldn't give everybody that you wanted to give them the attention that they need either.
Yeah, it's important to prioritize and just make sure that, that I'm organized as well. I have all my Outlook tasks. I kind of am in the middle of transitioning from a traditional calendar to just making sure everything is electronic. My goodness, this was long overdue. So, but yeah, so just staying organized, but making sure that I am giving everybody the attention that they deserve. Not everybody gets like 2 hours or whatever daily. It depends on, our contracts and what we had agreed upon as well. So I might be working for 10 hours a month for one client. I might be putting in 60 for another. So it's just kind of striking that balance and not over servicing one client, not under servicing another. Just paying attention to that too. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's hard. That's hard when you're trying to make sure that, well, and when you have such a variety, when you have dietitians and you have, brands and you have other companies, just to be able to balance the difference of types of individuals you're working with too.
Right. It's true. It's true. And getting to know their styles and their schedules. I have a lot of clients out on the East Coast, so I wake up to a lot of email and ideas in the morning. And then it's a little slower in the evening though, which is nice. So then I can push out a lot of stuff in the evenings, early evenings, and they get to wake up to that in the morning.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah. But I shouldn't, we do talk during the day. That's important too. We don't, fly by night. So, yeah.
What has been some fun things that you've done with dietitians? Like just some different things that maybe the entrepreneur hasn't thought about, or just some different things that dietitians can think about.
That's interesting. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some off the wall things. There were some unique things. One example that comes to mind, a couple actually. So, and I hope they don't mind that I'm kind of calling them out here, but as an example, I really love Mandy Enright's brand, and she's with Nutrition Nuptials. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her company. Yeah. So
she's trying to do a podcast, I think.
She just started it up. Yeah, I'm so proud of her. She's doing quite well. Yeah. So one of the things that she and I worked on, just on a project basis, and we do other things together, but this one project was just creating a sell sheet for her, and just with her rates, and because she wanted to reach out to various brands, and we came up with just this clever branding piece for her. It was a couple page document or PDF that we based upon a dating ad, like a personals ad in the newspaper, just given her company, Nutrition Nuptials, that she markets to couples and the health of, married couples or dating couples. So she turned her personal sheet into a kind of a personals ad, and engage with me and all the words of love sprinkled throughout. So that was fun to work on. Yeah. I have another dietitian based here locally who is launching a digital magazine in the month here to come, based on outdoor hiking and through hiking and nutrition on the trail for these long ultra hikes, which it's incredible to work with dietitians who are just doing such different things and such phenomenal things. So yeah, definitely.
That's interesting.
So for some of the clients, dietitians who I work with, again, they might be launching a book. With book launches and book readings and book signings and things like that are really fun. But I work with dietitians who are doing just the more traditional things. Again, help me build my referral base, help me solidify my brand, help me get crisp on who my ideal client is. so that I can grow my practice, help me get in the media. I want some media attention, things like that. So it's just some of the basics in terms of marketing to help them grow.
I think like the biggest, I like how you've mentioned a couple of times that, getting to know who your client is. I think that, I don't know if you feel like that's like the number one thing that people really should work on, because, I think that's something that they don't think about, or I probably wouldn't have thought about, being out there and, you have all these ideas, but you have to start somewhere. Like, where are your ideas going and what are you going to do with them?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just, from all the things that I've been taught about branding and all the things that I read about branding, it's really important to get clear and get crisp on it. Because so many of us just say, I want to grow my sales. I want to grow my business. I want to reach everybody with my message. And you can try, but the more you're being specific, about, men or women or both, or what age, do they have 3 kiddos? Do they work out at, do they go to Pilates? Do they, whatever it might be. Just the more detail that you can provide about who your ideal client is, the better. Because then you're able to say, okay, let's take a look at what they read. Let's take a look at where they spend their time online. Let's take a look at what social platforms they use. Take a look at where they shop. So you're much more likely to be able to target them, based on those parameters and other, parameters as well, instead of just going after the masses. But yeah, that's a big takeaway. It really, I would encourage everybody to just think about that, no matter what kind of business you're in.
Well, and like you said, like it's good to know just their habits, what they do, where they shop, and probably also to tailor your messages. Like if you are on social media, you want to make sure that you're doing the right messaging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just spin your wheels on social media all day.
That's right. Yeah. Have a branding all over the place. Branding soup.
I like that. Branding soup. Well, and you also, so as far as like kind of where you see your business going, I know that it's probably hard to kind of be like, okay, in 10 years, I see myself doing this, but I'm sure you set goals for yourself, and I'm sure you have where you want to go. So kind of where do you, and please say the name of your business too, which I will put a link on.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. So my business is Cucumber Nutrition Communication. And sometimes it is the KU is just, I picked that because those are my initials. So I just kind of did the play on words there.
Cute. Yeah.
So thanks. So Cucumber Nutrition Communications, and sometimes I just refer to it as cucumbers, or you'll see it on social as cucumbers. Where do I see it going? That's a good question. So I think for me, there's always room for, just working with different clients. Love working with dietitians, love working with those wonderful healthy food companies. So in my head, I do kind of have these buckets, like, just different types of food that I love personally. And I would say, I would love to work with a such and such company, or I'd love to work with a yogurt company or a peanut butter company or something like that. So those are things that I just kind of do for fun, in terms of when I'm marketing myself. But I could see, I still there's a little bit of dabbling in other things that I'm doing, on the side that I'd like to cut away and, focus a little bit more on solely running and operating cucumbers. So, yeah.
Gotcha. That's good. That's good. And like you said, there's so many different products that come out and companies that come out. That come out. It's going to be endless, I think, for anyone to be a part of.
It really is. It really is. I mean, you go to, expo halls at various conferences now, and you're going to run into 15 peanut butter companies. And it's how are you different from the last one? And how are you differentiating? And who are you targeting? So it's incredible. But yeah, there's the market. There's room for everything on the market. And so many companies just out there doing their thing and trying to make a name for themselves. So I applaud all of them. That's tough work.
That is tough work.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question for you about like being an influencer. There's a lot of companies that probably reach out to dietitians and say, hey, I want you to use our product, or I'll send you some samples, or will you do this? Do you have any advice for, any dietitian at any age who gets approached by a company? Like, what do you think is the best way for a dietitian to, I guess, like initiate a relationship with a company? Mm-hmm. What do you think is the best way to handle that situation?
Yeah, well, first, I think it's great that the company is reaching out and finding dietitians and engaging with us. Sometimes the company might have expectations tied to that, and other times they don't. There's so many that send out the samples and the literature and don't expect anything in return. I think as a dietitian, if you're interested in working with a company or engaging with them, or you've tried their products and you like them, or you might recommend them to friends or family or clients or patients, then, let them know, drop them a line, reach out to them on social, engage however you can. And on the flip side of this too is, as dietitians, if there are particular brands that you want to, work with and kind of reaching out to them for samples, or I think it's kind of tough too when dietitians are just starting out and maybe don't have a huge social following. A lot of those brands are really looking at the numbers, which is tough and sometimes not fair, but that's a lot of times what it comes down to. So if you can show growth over, social media over time, or say, Twitter, okay, my account is to be established, or, just those stats that you can put in, or website growth, website traffic, things like that you can share with brands too, to try and get their attention. And just having even just a 1-page sell sheet if you're interested in working with brands in that regard too. So yeah,
that's good. Yes. Because I think, I just think of like students or like new grads, and they're like, well, this company sent me products, and what do I do with it? Do I have to like take pictures and cook with it?
Right.
They ask all those questions, and I'm like, well, what did they say when they sent you the packaging?
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of times the answer is not necessarily, but even when I get something out of the blue, that company is making an effort, and I just want to, even if it's not visible to the world, right? Even if I don't put something out on social, just a little note to the company to say, hey, I received it. I'm trying it. Really appreciate you thinking of me. Just to say thank you.
Well, and you're right though, like about dietitians, like they are reaching out to a dietitian, and that itself is great. So it's good to acknowledge it.
Right. And kind of validate for them. Hey, thank you for reaching out to us as dietitians and recognizing the work that we do. It's important.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. I know I always just think that that's a tumultuous area between some dietitians and even like organizations, with like state affiliates, or even with the academy, about like product and marketing. And I think there's a place, I guess, and it's just how you handle it is a good or bad thing. So
exactly. And just being true to who you are. You don't feel pressured just because you got something to feel like, okay, now I have to say something on social or write a blog post about it or whatever. Working with companies that you can stand behind and that you feel good about. Yeah.
And some companies will even pay you to do that.
Exactly. And that's the importance of the, disclosure, using the appropriate hashtags and so forth when you do have those opportunities, which are great paid opportunities.
Which you can help with, right? Which you can help with.
Exactly. Exactly. I like helping, be the mediator, the go-between to connect dietitians and brands. Definitely do that on behalf of a lot of my clients.
Well, and that's why I think like a business like yours is very beneficial for those dietitians who don't know how to navigate that scene, but want to be a part of it. and to do it in the right way and do it, consciously and not have any issues that could cause any problems for you in the future. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. So can help negotiate those, just terms and contracts and, help as, again, just that, middle woman. So, so to speak.
I like that. Well, I think that you're definitely a great resource of just a different frontier of dietetics, just for, us that are maybe thinking about going into being an influencer or, trying to work on our business or, I think that there's a difference between, like you said, a PR firm, but a PR firm that kind of has a dietitian connection or background kind of makes you stand out because anybody can go to a PR firm, but who has a dietitian working for them? Probably not too many.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of dietitians, I have had some clients in the past who would go and try and seek the help of PR firms, and the rates that, some of these agencies are just sky high. So, working with an independent consultant, such as myself.
Can
keep the rates down a little bit. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I thought that you would be a good person to come on today because, PR, that's something that, like you said, dietitians can't just break the mainstream without some help. And it is not cheap to go to a PR firm that does everything.
Right.
It's very costly. And not saying that you're not definitely worth that money, but I think, there's a difference between the connection that you would have with a fellow dietitian, versus a different PR firm.
Right. Yeah. And, thank you for saying that. So and knowing, having done the research as well and having my various lists and resources here about, outlets that we can go after and, whether it's foodie publications or health publications or, your local, news broadcast. So just kind of finding who's appropriate to talk with and building upon lists based on goals.
I appreciate your work in that situation because that's not easy. I know I've tried to just being in Iowa, trying to get a media spot is very difficult.
It is.
They don't open the door for you very easily unless you have another big name behind you to open the door for you.
Sure. No, it's true. Or it's about who you know, or it's about, hey, I'm coming in with these 3 brands that I'm going to talk about. A lot of times they pay more attention, than I'm a local dietitian, or you've got to make it newsworthy, relevant. I'm here, something punchy about Valentine's Day or whatever it might be.
Yes. Yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's good to have someone that has some expertise in that.
Yeah. And a thick skin, it's writing that good pitch and it's following up.
Yep. And just keep sending emails, making phone calls.
Yeah. The agency used to just call it smiling and dialing.
Oh. Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Well, I think it's great that you're sharing your message about how, dietitians can marry different, jobs and kind of come up with their own job and create their own business right off the bat. You don't have to do clinical for a year. You don't have to do that type of stuff. If you're passionate about something, go for it.
Exactly. Yeah, very well said. And thanks for the opportunity to chat with you too.
Yeah, no. And I think at some point, I hope that, I will definitely put your contact information. And I think that, that's another good connection that dietitians can say, hey, there's another dietitian that I know out there that can help me with some things that I might be interested in. So
definitely. Yeah. If there are any questions about marketing one's practice or nutrition business or health and wellness business, I'm here to take those questions. That'd be great.
Awesome.
To reach out.
Awesome. Well, I asked you some hard questions. Are you ready for some easy questions?
Sure, go for it.
What is your favorite food?
That's a good one. And you heard me mention peanut butter throughout some of my examples. Yes. So I have such a weakness for just various nut butters and peanut butters. And a lot of times that's how I end my day. It's kind of my quote unquote dessert. So, just grab a spoonful or a little tiny bowl. And that's my treat. Love it.
Well, you're alive in the great time because, like you said, there's like 50 different peanut butter companies all over.
I know. I'm on a little bit of a little bit of an almond butter kick right now. So good.
Are you? See, you can go through different nuts too. I mean, hazelnuts. You can go through almonds, cashews, walnuts. You can hit them all up.
Exactly. I'm not super brand loyal, surprisingly. I'm always on the lookout for, okay, now I'm going to try this one. Now I'm going to try this.
Well, that makes you a true lover of it because you are going to try something different and new, right?
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite beverage?
Favorite beverage? I would say every afternoon I have an afternoon latte. It's just comfort for me and part of my routine. So, and it's got to have 2 shots. And it has to be extra hot. I sometimes order it scalding hot.
I didn't know that's an ordering option.
Well, I think then they know, okay, she wants it hotter than extra hot. So I don't, that's
scalding hot.
Yeah. They raise an eyebrow when I order it that way, but like, are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
They're probably thinking this lady's going to burn her tongue and then she's going to yell at me.
Right. Here comes the lawsuit. Yeah. No, I do get some funny looks, but I love my hot foods super, super hot and cold foods super, super cold. I don't just hot that way. So, yeah.
That's okay. You have a preference for temperature. That's fine. What's your favorite color?
Oh, I like lavender. I think it's, I don't know, it's just one of those warm colors that I like. So just, I've got some shirts that are that color and I just feel better that day or in the morning, when I put it on, I'm like, oh, this is my color. We all have those colors where we look. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a pretty color too.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite scent?
For scents, I would say campfires or bonfires or burning leaves. That smell kind of just brings me back to being a kiddo and jumping in leaf piles before we could burn them back in the day before that all went away.
No, I know what you're saying. It's like in the fall, in the Midwest, there's that smell of the burning leaves or whatever. It smells so good.
I know. Yeah. Fall's my favorite season. So I would say that's my go-to.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. What brings you joy in life?
I think, a number of things. Having my own business and being successful there and enjoying every day and my clients and the different things I get to do with them and for them is really rewarding. The other piece that has been bringing me joy is my little niece, who just turned 2 this past December, but we live in the same neighborhood and she is just such fun. Yeah. So
good age.
I know.
What's her name?
Her name is Merritt. So
cute.
Yeah, but if you ask her what her name is, she'll say Nermit. Either Nermit or Mermare. So
cute.
She's a sweetie, and I get to spend. Auntie gets to spend some time with her, maybe once a week or a couple times a week. So I really enjoy it. Yeah, she's a treat. Fun.
That's a good joy. That's a good joy in your life.
Yeah. Great.
Well, thank you so much for taking time today and just sharing kind of your journey so far. I'm sure there's a lot more left, but I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Anne. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
I will be honest, I was shocked when I learned Krista started her own business almost right after completing her internship. I also had the same mentality that we all need to have other experiences before we start our own business. She has such a great message of going after what you want. No reason to wait whatsoever. And you don't have to devote a certain number of years to something that isn't bringing you joy. So go after what you want and kind of be more like Krista when you think about your profession. My website, annelizabethrd.com, is where you can read my latest weekly wisdom blog post, where I share my current adventures, the food I'm eating, and the music playlist I create for my fitness. I might also include a really delicious, real deal recipe, and I always like you to know what I'm loving right now. You will find all my previous podcasts, show notes, and links to things we talked about during my conversations with my favorite people. And you can also purchase my book, I'm a Registered Dietitian, Now What?, from my website. Please connect with me on social media by finding me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at AnnElizabethRD. Remember to be great always, find the joy in each day, and to start a conversation that truly matters.